Hi everybody, and welcome to part 3 already of drawing a portrait from freehand. And this is another one with a load of tips in it. So you can become that freehand artist if you want. And what I was doing here was first try to make a first study on very cheap paper. Maybe you know it, it costs literally almost nothing, and that's ideal for making your first setup. And this is the profile with the light from behind, and the whole recording was uploaded live on my Patreon page. So there I'm drawing and talking at the same time. And here on YouTube it's a little bit fast forwarded, but still there's enough to be told. As you can see here, the tip of the forehead is at the same vertical line as is the tip of the breast. And what you can also notice is that the model is looking slightly downwards. So what I'm doing is I take that angle in which the model is looking down, and you can also see here, you can see the brow line, and that's the angle in which the head is tilted downwards. Furthermore, the eye is slightly closed, not tight, just closed. And as you can see, the line of the nose and the line of the ear are on that same height. And then this would be the back of the skull. And also you can notice that the tip of the clothes is at the same height as the bottom line of the chin. Here you can see the string of hair that's going down, straight down, and I thought that was a very nice detail in this drawing, this model I should say. And this is that bone that easily breaks. I'm not sure how it's called, but that's a very important part too, because the neck is going around that. And here we can see the ponytail, and that's coming from the back of the skull and then coming forwards over that same bone. And I also thought that was a very nice detail in this model. Now I have to check the tip of the breast line, and I am training myself to watch better, to become a good watcher, and I'm using the Sakura charcoal pencil for this. And there's also a reason for using charcoal, and that's because you can easily blend it with your finger or with a blender stick, whatever you want. But in this case it's just a mere sketch, so I do that with the finger. So that's very nice for pre-studies. Here you can see the eye socket where the eyeball will go in. And this is a very important shadow. It's the shadow that's behind the eyeball. And here we can see that line of that slightly closed eye. It's like she's peeping through her eyelashes. And that's a very nice detail too, I think. And this is about the outer line for the hair. And make sure that the hair is going around the head. Otherwise the head would look quite flat. Okay, tip number 2. Maybe you know it. The folders, they are very bright. You can watch right through them, and you can use them to secure your drawings if you want. But there is another thing that I use it for, and that's my own testing myself of what I have been doing. Now there are markers, and these are addings. There are all kinds of markers, of course. But I tried the Staedtlers, but the Staedtlers, kind of easily slide away from that very smooth surface. But the adding colors quite stay on that glossy paper, glossy plastic. It's like a folie. And I tried to train myself by drawing out the contours and the angle and the main important lines. Then I'm checking myself. So I place it over the drawing that I've made, and in that way I can see the mistakes that I'm making. I can already see that the whole model is slightly bigger than the original, but I do have the directions going in the good way, so I'm very happy with that. And the angle is correct, so that's okay, but the tip of the breast is out of line, and in this way I am training myself and confronting myself with the mistakes that I've made. Now here you can see study 2 and 3. Study 2 was done on scribble pad paper, where I was making a closer study of the nose and the mouth, because it's not completely you can just see the outside of the head, and this is on gray paper, and here I'm already trying to study the light. I'm using the white pastel pencil for that. So these are still unfinished drawings. Well, the number 2 is okay, it's just a study, but the number 3 I will work further on. But before I go further on that third study, I will simply go back to study number 1 to train my eye even harder. Now I know I've made some mistakes, and I'm going to show them how to correct them without erasing. Now, what you can do to correct yourself, of course, are placing in the correct shadows. These will make a huge difference. Now here you can see the tip of the breast that was way off. Then I'm simply taking a natural charcoal, and then I go just next to that contour. So now I'm already correcting my mistakes, and then I go back in with the charcoal pencil again, and I simply start looking farther for the darker areas. Now here you can see the ponytail and the front of the body, which is of course way more in the shadow. So I'm simply starting to look further for all the shadows that are going on in this model. Here I'm correcting the hair a little bit, and I'm placing in more and more shadows. Also, I can erase, of course, lines that are distracting me. So I simply take the pencil eraser and get rid of little helper lines that really bother me, and I get rid of them. And then I always check a little bit of what I've been doing, and I try to get the best of 3D effect as I can. Here I'm simply drawing back those strings of hair. And what's also very nice to try is to get a little bit of structure going on, maybe in the clothes and in the hair. So in that way you can study even further on that first sketch that you are already making. Here I'm putting in the shadow that is in the front of the face, and that's very important to get the light angle correctly. Now the light source is coming from the back in this case, and that is something that I want to preserve in my study, in my sketch. I also bring back some highlights with the pencil eraser, like here on the tip of the nose and next to the mouth, maybe here on the side of the head. And here I can use a little bit more white in the hairs, and so I simply use the pencil eraser like an actual pencil actually. So if you do not have a pencil eraser, I can really recommend it to you. You can just use it some kind of a white pencil in the charcoal. Now what's also very nice is to draw in some of the flowers that are in the fabric of the dress she's wearing. It could be a wedding dress or something. And by putting in a little bit of structure and adding more darkness into that ponytail that is coming, that is laying on top of that dress, you can get a little bit more contrast and get an exciting first sketch. In the meantime, you are training yourself to watch very closely. Here is the light that's coming from the back, and this is what brings out that 3D effect. So charcoal, pencil, natural charcoal, and the pencil eraser. That's all. And of course you can use the foil with the adding marker. Draw out the contour and the directions of the face, and then check yourself. And I can see that I've corrected myself now a little bit, so I'm becoming a little bit better at freehand drawing every day. I hope you liked these tips and that you will give this tutorial a big thumbs up. All can be watched back on my Patreon site, and for now I would say I will see you again next Friday.